From the monsters and dolls to action figures and robots and even baseball cards, the 80s were a world of imagination. Today, let's dust off the toy box and take a trip back to the 1980s, an era where toys were pure magic. Let's count down 20 of the most iconic toys of the 1980s. Nintendo Entertainment System, NES. Before the PlayStation or Xbox, the Nintendo Entertainment System existed.
There was virtually no console market in the US.
This small gray box revolutionized video games. Super Mario, Duck Hunt, and Zelda were not only games, they were addictions. Children passed cheat codes on the playground like they were national secrets, and blowing on the cartridges was almost a ritual to make them work. Happy Holidays, Barbie. If you had Barbie during the 80s, then more than likely you'll recall the holiday edition, Barbies. The Happy Holidays Barbie in 1988 wore a dazzling red ball gown, as if she were going to the most elegant Christmas bash. This doll was not merely a toy, but a collector's trophy, and for some children, the gem on the top of their Barbie shelf. Cabbage Patch Kids. The Cabbage Patch Kids were a full-fledged phenomenon rather than merely just a toy. Every Cabbage Patch Kid had different appearances, and they even had an adoption certificate to match. Parents stood in line outside of stores, sometimes battling for them during the holiday season. For children, owning a Cabbage Patch Kid meant you became cool on the playground immediately. Care Bears. Care Bears were the epitome of clean 80s entertainment, with their vibrant, snuggly, and a belly badge that reflected their personality. They weren't merely stuffed animals. They had a message of love and compassion. And naturally, each child had their favorite, be it Cheer Bear, Grumpy Bear, or Tenderheart. Star Wars FX7 action figure. Star Wars was a toy empire. FX7 action figure, the medical droid from The Empire Strikes Back, was one such collectible that children either cherished for its odd appearance or held onto as part of their entire Star Wars collection. Star Wars toys were a necessity in every 80s toy box. Boglins. Creepy and squishy Boglins were the hand puppet monsters that looked straight out of a movie. They came in boxes with little jail bars, making them feel like dangerous creatures you had to keep locked up. Gross, weird, and totally awesome. The kind of toy parents side-eyed but kids adored. My Pet Monster. Talking about the strange My Pet Monster. It was a huge plush monster with orange shackles that could break apart. He was meant to be frightening, but kids in the end were treating him like a huge, cuddly friend. The toy even had its own cartoon, making it a part of 80s toy history. Ricky Henderson baseball card. Not everything was plastic or stuffed. For sports enthusiasts, baseball cards were the equivalent of action figures. The holy grail of the time? The 1980 Topps Ricky Henderson rookie card. Children swapped cards at school, kept them in shoe boxes, and fantasized about holding one that would make them wealthy. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Castle Grayskull. If you were raised in the 80s, chances are you yelled, "By the power of Grayskull," at least once. The Castle Grayskull playset was the ideal setting for great battles between He-Man and Skeletor. With hideous doors, weapons, and trap functions, this wasn't only a toy, it was an entire universe of imagination. Transformers. Robots in disguise. Transformers were the fantasy of every child back then. They were the action figures that could transform from robots to cars to planes and back again. Optimus Prime and Megatron were not merely playthings, they were legends. Children would spend their afternoons transforming them back and forth, tending to jam pieces and requiring rescue by a parent. Rainbow Bright. Vibrant, colorful, and magical, Rainbow Bright was the heroine of her own cartoon and toy brand. She arrived with her faithful sprite, Starlight the horse, and a message of sharing color and joy. She brightened toy stores with rainbow attire and was a must-have for children who wanted a little bit of sparkle in their playtime. Zany Zappers. Before the smartphone, there were zany zappers. They were wacky electronic gadgets that strapped to your head like visors and flashed with goofy effects. They did not really do anything, but they made you feel like a space hero. You wore them throughout the neighborhood, role-playing as cyborgs, and really that was all the excitement you needed. Mad Balls. Toys that grossed out were huge in the 80s, and nothing nailed it better than Mad Balls. These were bouncy balls shaped like disgusting monster heads with oozing eyes and stitched mouths. Parents thought they were nasty, which only made kids love them more. G.I. Joe. The action figure franchise exploded during the 80s, with unlimited characters, vehicles, and giant battles between G.I. Joe and Cobra. These were not just toys, they were Saturday morning cartoons brought to life. Every child had his or her favorite Joe, and wars in the backyard were a daily thing. The A-Team action figures. Who did not want to play with Mr. T in toy form? The A-Team action figures allowed children to recreate the classic TV show. Whether blowing things up with B.A. Baracus or devising stealthy missions with Hannibal, these toys made every child feel part of the team. Dungeons and Dragons action figures. For children who were fantasy fans, the Dungeons and Dragons toy franchise was pure magic. From warriors and wizards to dragons, it was the best possible introduction to role-playing. Even if you were not actually playing the board game, the action figures make you feel like you were on a grand quest. Knight Rider, KITT, and collectibles. David Hasselhoff wasn't the only celebrity of Knight Rider. His crime-fighting, talking car, KITT, was the real star of the show. Toy KITTs were super popular, with built-in sound effects and lighted features. Kids would speed them around the living room, imagining they had their own computerized crime-fighting car. Lunchboxes. 80s lunchboxes were not only for transporting peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. They were status symbols. Featuring Star Wars, Transformers, Rainbow Bright, or Garfield designs, boasting about your lunchbox at school was boasting about you. And yes, the metal ones were perfect drum sets during recess time. She-Ra, Princess of Power, Crystal Castle. She-Ra wasn't only He-Man's sister, she was a legend in her own right. The Crystal Castle playset glowed pink and purple, becoming a perfect residence for She-Ra and her cohorts. It was not just any girl's toy by any means. Instead, it was a declaration that heroes could be in any shape. MUS, CLE figures, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We're finishing strong with two huge favorites. First, MUS CLE figures, the tiny collectible wrestling figures that came in packs. Kids collected dozens, sometimes hundreds, trading them like candy. And then the legends, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. From comics to cartoons to toys, the Turtles were everywhere. The action figures, vehicles, and playsets like the Sewer Lair made every kid feel like part of the squad. There you have it, the 20 toys that made the 80s so memorable. From cuddly and soft Care Bears to Mad Balls that grossed out. From the legendary Transformers to eerie Boglins, these toys were not just fabric and plastic. They were every child's friend, imagination stimulants, and a serious goldmine to some fortunate collectors of today. Which of these toys was it that you played with? Do you have any still hidden away in your attic? And which one do you think was the best 80s toy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more similar contents like this. Until next time, keep playing. Thanks for watching.